Hey everybody, welcome to SwingBadder. We have a special episode. We are in the monthly, not the weekly, the monthly Batter 5. And for those that are following us, we do a weekly Batter 5 on battersports.com. There's the Batter 5 every week of the 5 teams that just didn't want to win much, if not at all. And so we put together a monthly for the month of June. And you may be saying, you know, we're 3 months into this crazy baseball season. We have 3 months left. So you only get 6 winners in the Batter 5. Luckily, if we go back to the Rolodex and we say, well, who were the previous winners? Well, folks, the Rockies were undefeated in the month of May and the month of April. They were 4-23 to start the year. In the first month, they were 5-27 in the second month, and they were the leaders. The other teams, a little odd. We had the Braves in the first month as a 5th place finisher in the Batter 5. The Marlins were tied with 5th place. White Sox were 2nd. Baltimore was 4th. Pirates were 3rd. And in the month of May, that was the month of April, we had the White Sox were in 3rd, so the White Sox are a two-peater. The A's made it with a 9-22 record, finishing 2nd to the Rockies. Marlins made another showing, and the Pirates did as well. So it's kind of been consistent with everything we've seen with Major League Baseball in the standings and what you're looking at, because the worst teams end up on the Batter 5. This month was a little different. So the bottom tier teams kind of elevated themselves, and I have to hand it to one team in particular. The Marlins at the end of this month finished 6-0. Actually, they finished 7-0 because I close it out at the end of the week on a Sunday. So on this Sunday, they were 7-0, and they went from, here's the reality, what you're looking at, 6-0. They were 8-11 going into the week. 6-0 put them at 14 wins and 11 losses. They went from going into the Batter 5 to leading all of the NL East in the Batter 5 for the month with 14-11 record, which says the NL East had a bad week, which is a true statement. And that leads us to the Batter 5 for June. Now, June's a wonderful month. There's lots of summer, school's out, getting out. Everyone's getting excited for everything that's baseball. And the Washington Nationals, because it's a national pastime, decided to lead us in the Batter 5. They went 7-18 on the month. They finished the week off actually pretty good with a 3-3, the only time they weren't in the Batter 5. They did have a perfect week, 0-6. They were just, how do you put it, 7 wins. Would any other month put you in about 2nd place because the Rockies were so bad the first 2 months? But they took the mantle from the Rockies. They were 1st place in the Batter 5. Todd, you see them all the time. We knew they weren't going to be that good. They have really deep dived, and they are now, I believe, in last place behind the Marlins as the Marlins started to pick it up.
Well, the secret that they've figured out is that all you have to do is walk James Wood 4 times a game.
Don't let him bat.
Just stop letting him bat. I mean, like there's no real offensive threats on this team other than this guy who's a monster, who's just absolutely demolishing the ball.
They had a long losing streak during a month of like 12 or 13 games in a row that really set him.
I think they got swept by the Rockies.
It could be. I don't remember who, but I know they went on a long losing streak.
Yeah, the team is. It's rough. It's a rough time for them. I don't think it surprises anyone. I think it surprises people that it's not Colorado. But if you had to pick, like out of each division, this is the team in this division that you're thinking this is going to be the batter of the baddies.
A quick
well, until the recent surge, though, I thought that they would be above Miami, but Miami went on a hot streak here.
Now Miami's starting to figure it out.
This month saw the Nationals lose 3 of 4 to the Rockies. They didn't get swept. The Marlins were the team that got swept this month, which is why I was really expecting them to be the basement of the Batter 5 for the month. But again, Marlins have really picked it up. They're not in the Batter 5, and to be quite honest, they were the best team of the NL East, which is saying a lot for the NL East, or saying a lot for the Marlins. 2nd place, and we have a tie. And I've decided to go with ties because in the month there's too many things happening, too many moving parts. Both of these teams are first-time Batter 5 monthlies. Both of these teams had an 8-16 record, which is not good. And both of these teams are in reverse, not in drive. They're in the AL Central. They're the Cleveland Guardians and the Kansas City Royals have tied for second place for many, many reasons. One is the offense is slumping, the pitching is slumping. Kansas City has both things slumping right now. They finished the month of June out in the batter 5 with 1-5 records, which got them to 8-16. The Royals did have an 0-6 week this month. The Cleveland Indians had 2 1-5s. It's just been a really bad go of it for the AL Central, in particular for these two teams. Cleveland was battling in second place, and I say battling loosely because Detroit has really taken it to the moon. But Cleveland was playoff contention. They were in it. This 8-16 month, they're out of the playoffs. They're out of the wild card. They're on the outside looking in, and if you're a Cleveland Guardian fan, are you selling? Because these are the questions you got to ask. In the AL Central, all three teams that were really high up there have just really fallen.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm selling the Guardians. I think there's not really any like kind of shock here as far as what's going on. I mean, like it's shocking just based on what they did at the beginning of the year, but I don't think I had them picked for winning the AL Central. I didn't think they were going to go to the playoffs at all. So I think even like in a great year, you're probably figuring they're finishing behind either Minnesota or Detroit. But if I'm in the AL Central, I'm putting together some trade packages. I am moving players faster than poop through a goose, as they say.
Dad, anything strike you about the Royals or the Cleveland Guardians?
I'm surprised. Now, I didn't expect them to be, gangbusters, but I didn't expect them to both fall off the cliff like this. I mean, literally what we're talking about is 3 weeks ago they were competitive, and if they couldn't catch Cleveland, they certainly were right in the middle of the wild card race, and boom, just to crash for that long a period of time is devastating. It's so hard to make that up. If you have a streak like that, like you're 8-16, I mean, you have to win 2/3 of your games for a month just to get back to 500. It's really hard to make that up.
Here's the worst part about it for Cleveland, and I'll focus on them. They were 15-12 the first month. They're 17-14 the second month. So they are on the path to a possible wild card. They are certainly above 500. Them being a -12 in wins for this month, that wipes out your first two above 500 months. And again, they're an under 500 team now by one bad month. Now, Dad, to your point, you have 3 months left. Let's just say they're +3. If you're +3 for 3 months, you don't even wipe out what you just did.
No.
So this is what's so sad about the 8-16. This month is devastating for both these teams. I think Cleveland would have had a better shot than the Royals because the Royals' offense is just non-existing. But if you look at what Cleveland's doing offensively, they're having similar issues. They've had some injuries. Pitching's kind of gone awry for them. All in all, I don't expect Cleveland to continue to be on the batter 5. Like another 8-16 month would shock me, but they're trending poorly, just like the Royals. I don't see them picking it back up. Both of them are second place. Both of them are first time in the batter 5 monthly. Looking at Kansas City, they were 13-15 and 18-14. So neither of those months are bad months. 13-15 is not bad. 18-14 is a really good month. And this just, again, wipes it right out.
It seems to me when teams this year go south, most of the time, they just can't score. It just seems that way. The Yankees went through a bad stretch. They couldn't score any runs. And Cleveland can't score. Kansas City can't score. The Giants are in a little funk now. I think they're 4 or 5 game losing streak. They can't score during those games. And it's weird. I don't think there are many teams that went through a stretch where they're allowing 8-10 runs a game. There are probably a couple, but most of the time you just can't score.
Well, the big issue that you have, in talking about offense, the Cleveland Guardians in the past 30 days, they've averaged 36 at-bats per home run. The Royals have averaged 37 at-bats per home run. In 30 days, the Guardians have 278 total bases. So you're roughly 9 total bases per game or per day in the last 30 days. And just give you, the Royals are at 335. The Athletics are at 368 for total bases. Like, the Guardians' offense has just been demolished, and it's not like they have 919 at-bats. 919 at-bats with 171 hits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brutal. The past 30 days, the Guardians have a 205 batting average as a team. As a team.
Yeah.
So, like, the Royals are 236. In between them are the White Sox at 224. How are the White Sox? White Sox are batting 20 points better than you as a team. How are the Guardians not firing everybody on the coaching staff and unloading every single player they have for prospects?
Yeah.
Every single player.
I want. Can you look up one team for me? Because one team I think is an anomaly that I'm seeing right now in baseball. Can you look up the last 30 days for the Astros?
The last 3 days?
30, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
If you look up at the Astros on their offense.
So, for the Astros, on their offense, yeah, so they're 261.
Okay.
In the last 30 days. Their on-base percentage is 324. As a team, they're at a 742 OPS.
Okay. Because they're not scoring a lot of runs. They're winning a lot of one-run games. The Astros are. And they had an excellent month, by the way. The Astros just went to where Detroit is. They just are shooting up. So that's second tied, so second and third. That takes care of that fourth place in the batter five for the monthly as we do a drum roll, which is really exciting. The Minnesota Twins in the AL Central. So here's the thing that's crazy. Hey, an AL Central team made it. Not one, not two, but three before I mentioned the White Sox.
Wow.
So this is for the month, folks. So this is Cleveland tied with Kansas City, and the Twins all outperformed or underperformed compared to the White Sox. If we would have said one of the AL Central teams doesn't perform as well as the White Sox, that's acceptable. 3 of the 5, I would have lost that bet every day.
Absolutely.
So the Twins, just to give you a reference, they were 9-17 on the month. Their pitching went crazy bad. They had 2 weeks in a row where they're on the batter five with a -30 run differential and a -17, and they were 2-10 in that period. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, the batter five, I think, is one of the best ways to look at baseball. 2 weeks, 2-10, a -8. What did that do to their previous 2 months? The Twins were 12-16, and they were 19-11. 19-11 got wiped out in 2 weeks.
Oof.
Yeah.
2-10. And again, so you need to outperform. Well, they went 4-3 and 3-4 in the other 2 weeks. So they're 500. So 19-11 just last month, the month of May, you would say the Twins are on a roll. 19-11, one of the best months. They were right behind Detroit. Detroit was 21-11. So the Twins were right there. 9-17, bye. They're in the way back.
But they were tied for first in home runs hit for the last 30 days.
Thank God.
Pitching.
Imagine what it'd be like if they didn't do that.
Pitching.
But they only batted 235.
They're not hit.
They only batted 235.
They're not getting
So
them on.
after this month, the American League Central is like a kennel. There's 1 alpha dog and 4 abused, malnourished dogs in the room with him.
They're sitting in the corner. They're sitting in the corner shaking.
Yep, and 1 alpha dog who eats all the food first.
Right, and then there's one who's kind of roaming about the middle, looking for scraps, saying, "Hey, I want a treat."
Just so everyone knows how far ahead Detroit is. Detroit had the same month as the Marlins, 14-11. It's not the best month for them. They've had much better months, but they're still above 500. And when you're talking about your competition only gets 8 wins, 9 wins, so you're gaining a minimum of 5 or 6 games in this month, and you had your worst month of the year. So Detroit, we will crown you. We know we have 3 months left, so it's a little early, but let's just call it what it is. Detroit We all picked them to win this division. Clearly, they're head and shoulders above the competition. I look for them to be big-time buyers for the playoffs, and I can't wait to watch Detroit baseball in the playoffs this year.
They're not just head and shoulders. They're probably a torso above the competition. They are a 6'7", 197-pound Mizorowski above the competition.
They can start resting their starters for the playoffs.
Right now. Go to a 10-pitcher rotation. Doesn't matter.
The good news about this is the Nationals, this is the first time they're in the batter five. Guardians, Twins, Royals, all first-timers. But we had
For the monthly.
But we had a tie at fifth. And the reason why I have ties is if the records are the same, I'm going to give it a tie. These two have been in the batter five every single month. So
so we know who they are.
the Rockies and the White Sox are the only three-peaters. They both finished fifth, which is great. I mean, I couldn't write more positive things about both of these teams. The Rockies had 10 wins this month. They were 10-15. Still qualify in the batter five for the month, but they had more wins in the month of June than the two previous months combined. We all laughed about the Rockies. This was a bad month. 10-15. The only reason they're here, and this is what's frustrating, they went on the batter five one time this month, and it was a 1-5 on the last week of June. Dodgers and Brewers got them. If they would have gotten a second win, they aren't even on this list. The White Sox are the other team, but they had a 1-5 week, a 2-4 week, 3-3 and 4-3. They finished with 10 wins. They're 10-15. The White Sox are the second best team in the AL Central. I would have never thought that for them ever going into this season. So they are the fifth place finishers. We knew they're bad. We know they're bad. I want to see the Rockies get out of this. I want to see the White Sox not make it. So I'm cheering for them to get more wins, to not be here. I like newcomers. I'm really happy for the AL Central for really showing up this month of June. Like we said, we got 3 months left. And what's interesting, first, before I get into my interesting aspects of the month, any thoughts on the Rockies and the White Sox? Again, you're looking at 10 wins. The previous 2 months, 7 wins, 11 wins for the White Sox. So it's pretty consistent for them. And the Rockies, this is just night and day compared to what they used to be.
Colorado Rockies hit 253 as a team for the month, which put them squarely at like 10th in Major League Baseball for the month.
They did start hitting. They weren't hitting at all before.
Yeah. So, I mean, like their offense is there. I thought, Dad, you make the running joke. Oh, they're going to win 5 in a row at some point. Okay.
I believe.
I guess, right?
They got to 4 once.
Yes,
they did lead Major League Baseball in an offensive stat that I'm actually really impressed with. Triples. They're the only team for the last 30 days that has had 10 triples. They had 10, so the only team in double digits on that. So in 26 games, they're getting triples.
That's a triples ballpark. That outfield's so large in Colorado that in the gaps, man, you get triples.
Hold on a second. Hold your thought. Where did the Giants rank in triples? Because I would argue the Giants ballpark is the triple fest.
Well, you have so many that are like, just barely going. The Giants had 6 tied for second.
The Giants
with
ballpark.
Arizona, Los Angeles, Miami, and the Giants were all 6.
I would say the Giants have the ballpark. The Rockies ballpark is very, very nice for that, but it's also very nice for home runs.
Right.
Well, the Rockies were 7th in Major League Baseball for home runs. For the last 30 days, they're at 30.
This is not even the same team we made fun of before with 10 wins.
What I'm beginning to sense is that the Rockies will not break the 40-win season of the Mets. They'll go over 40. Right now, if you look at it, projected out, they're not going to get to 40. But I can see with the numbers, lots of things are starting to improve. Hey, we're not talking about a good team here. If you win 43 or 44 games, you're not a good team. But I think they're going to pass that Mets team.
Well, listen, they had 9 wins on in the last 30 days. So I don't know about the month of June. So it was one more than Washington.
So you're looking specifically at the month of June. I take it by week, so I cut it off early on Sunday, and I may start it a little early. So right now, if you look at like July has 4 weeks, the All-Star break being one of the weeks that we don't even have. So it would be 5, but the All-Star week. So every month from here on out has 4 weeks in them: July, August, and September. So what will be interesting, especially when we look at some of these teams that are contending, how do they position themselves? Because if you continuously have 500 weeks, 500 months, it's over. We have 3 months left. You have to start making a move. You got to be a +4, +5 on win differential here as you move forward. The things that I note are, what are the best teams in the division in the month of June? What are the worst teams in the division? So let's look at the AL East to start. This is the good old Yankees. The Tampa Bay Rays were 17-8. That is an excellent month. They've never been in the batter 5. 17-8 is excellent. The worst team in the batter 5 in the AL East was the Yankees at 12-13. So you're seeing what we're seeing, which is the Rays are right next to them now. They had an under 500 month, 12-13. You know, the previous 2 months are really good. We'll see if the Yankees have a bad July, which would indicate to me that they're going to give up something here. But the Rays are unconditioned. They're very hot. Like 7, when you're getting up there and that's a +9. That's excellent. That is an excellent differential. You already know. Yeah, go ahead.
Shocking thing about the Rays is every year we're surprised. At some point, shouldn't we realize this is the Rays? They're going to do this.
If they they got to stop changing their roster every offseason to people we don't know. As soon as you get to know somebody, they get shipped off to another team.
Yeah.
So why
Rays batted .285 last 30 days?
Why the Rays are shocking? The first month of the Rays, they're 14-14. The second month, they're 15-16. They're 500 ball club.
Yeah.
Then they put it into overdrive, 17-8. This is my point about these months. When you look at August and September, if a team does 17-8, 18 and something like that in the month, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be the hottest team going into the playoffs, and you're not going to want to face them. Because if the Rays were going into the playoffs playing 17-8, I would say, I don't want to face them in a 3-game. I don't want to face them in a 1-game. They're too hot right now. So this is what's interesting as we look at this, especially with the weekly and the monthly. The AL Central we already did. We covered it quite aggressively. 14-11, 8-16. Detroit is running away. The most surprising thing to me, and it shouldn't surprise me, but the Houston Astros are in the Thunderdome. They're destroying everything. They finished 18-7 this month.
Oh, wow.
So why are they ahead by so much? Because of that. The next best team was 15-10, and that was the Angels, surprising me quite a bit, playing really good baseball, haven't been on the batter 5 in a while. The worst team of this division was the A's at 11-15. Mariners not far behind, 11-13. So not a whole lot of shock with the A's being the worst, but the Astros at +11. This is following an 18-14 week. Now you know why the Astros have had a lot of space in the month of June between them and second place.
Yeah, I keep waiting for the. I keep waiting for the Astros to collapse.
If you look at their run differential too, they are the least run differential for the amount of wins they have. They're like +49 okay. And they're 50, and I think they were 34 or something like that. They're +15 in the win differential, but they're only +50. When you look at Detroit, the Yankees, these other ball clubs, they're almost +100. So they're they win a lot of really close games. Like they swept the Phillies. I think it was 2-0, 1-0, 2-1. Just
right.
Good baseball. They do it well. So that's the American League. Going over the National League. The National East, this is the most interesting division to me, of course, over the course of 3 months. This month was the Marlins. Anybody had the Marlins winning a month? Anybody?
No.
Anybody?
I didn't have the Marlins winning a turkey at Thanksgiving.
And the worst team of the month was the Mets at 11-15. We all kind of felt that. Not really surprising. The Mets won it the first month at 19-9. Great start to the year. Then they were 18-11. But they were second to the Phillies, who were 21-10. So the Phillies finished the second month, and then it's the Marlins. The thing that's surprising to me about this whole thing is I think the Braves can't turn it on. 12-15 the first month. The Braves are 14-17 the second month. They are 11-14 the third month. That's too many stacked under 500 performances. So they have to be above 500 every month out, and they have to do an Astros. They have to be 18-7 if they're going to eliminate some of this. So every loss for the Braves is a lot heavier right now.
I think the Braves are done. You're now only ranked above the Nationals. You're, as of this recording, you're behind the Miami Marlins. That's another team that they're famous for making trades and making deals, and I think that's going to start happening sooner rather than later.
You see them as a seller, though, obviously.
Yeah, I have to sell at this point. You have to sell. Like, see what you can get for Strider, or see what you can get for just start selling.
Which makes this division a 2-team race. We all thought it would be a 3-team race. Mets and Phillies are going to go back and forth. I think they're within a 2-game, 1-game spread at the moment.
Despite our best efforts, the Phillies just won't win. We've tried to hand it to them. I don't know what to do.
Phillies are interesting because of their playoff or lack thereof, lack of getting to the World Series with such great teams and underperforming and playoff performances. Dad, any commentary for the NL East? Obviously, the Mets had a bad month. The Marlins had a good month, but nobody else is nobody had that 20-10 month or 18-7 month.
Yeah, well, the Mets had 2 exceptionally good months, so they had a bad month that's somewhat be expected. I'm with you. I think the surprise of the East is the Braves just can't even have a 500 month. 3 months have blown by. They haven't done 500 yet. It's bad. And I'm not surprised that the Marlins actually passed them. So I don't think they'll stay there, but I don't know. How much are the Braves going to start giving away? So we'll see.
Here's the thing for me with the Mets that I'm looking at, because they just had 2 really bad weeks in a row. They were 1-5 and 2-5. They were -19, -22. Both terrible numbers. So they're 3-10 in their last 2 weeks. I'm expecting positive weeks from them before the All-Star break. A positive week here, another positive week, because when you stack up the negatives, that's really bad. And that did wipe out quite a bit of good fortune they've had. The good news is the Braves haven't put it into overdrive. It's not a 3-team race. It's a 2-team race, and both the Phillies and Mets are still looking good in the wild card projections. So overall, Mets had, to your point, had a tough 2 weeks. Let's see how they turn it around.
Yep.
It could be a 3-team race if the Marlins keep this up.
Yeah, don't count on that one.
Blow it. If Marlins win another month, I'll just be like, okay, time to eat my hat, I guess.
The Mets were doggy poo-poo for 2 months last year and then decided to pull it out and make the playoffs. I mean, I think 3 months is a little too long, but maybe something happens in Miami and they get special.
The biggest problem is the month of May, they were 11-19. They wiped out their first month with this month, but that second month of 11-19 is a tough one to overcome.
Well, you're going macro now. Now we're just putting months or like binary pluses or minuses.
That's how I look at things. Looking at the NL Central, this division has been extremely interesting because 2 teams in this division have never been on the batter 5, and just so happens those 2 teams are in the lead this month. The Brewers and the Reds tied at 15-9. And the worst performing team was the Cubs at 12-13. So this division stays. I think this is a like a 3-team kind of race in this division. I know the Cubs have played really well, but I'm watching the Brewers. Brewers are looking really solid. The Reds just are not going away. They're still kind of there. They can get hot, I guess. What are your thoughts on this interesting NL Central 3 months in?
Not looking at it in great detail, I just had in my brain that this was 2-team race, Brewers and Cubs. And it's because I guess I have a hard time taking the Reds seriously. To me, they don't have the team that will keep going, but I could well be wrong. I think I predicted them at the beginning of the year to be good, so I should start taking them more seriously, I think.
I like how the Cardinals are 47 and 41 right now, and that's the other team. So this is actually the Cardinals and Brewers and Cubs are the first three. The Reds are in fourth place. The only reason why I keep laughing about the Reds, they've never been on the batter 5, but they've also never, I don't even think they've gotten much, I don't think they've been to second place in this division yet. They're just hovering, like right at that. They're still 45 and 42. You know, they're right there. They're right where you want to be. I would be a buyer if I'm a Reds fan. I mean, I think all these teams should buy all 4 of them. It's right there.
I cannot figure out the Cardinals. I thought they were bad. Then I thought they were great. And now they don't look good again. They're like Jekyll and Hyde.
Well, listen, it takes a lot to climb out of where you're at. I think I predicted the Reds to win this division because I'm a genius. And being prescient and all-knowing, I just like the Reds. I think there's something going on where Pete Rose is dead, but he's reinstated, and as a reward, he's going to find some way to take the powers that be and grant the Reds a playoff berth by having like one of the best comebacks of all times. I know they're like 6 games back right now, but I mean it would be really great to see the Reds actually come through and do this thing.
I wholeheartedly agree with you about the Reds. The Cubs won the first month at 17 and 10. The Cardinals won the second month, Dad. To your point, they looked amazing. They were 21 and 10 in the second month, the Cardinals. The Cubs are still 19 and 11, and then the Pirates were last in this division the first 2 months. The Pirates have started to play a little better here of late, and we'll see how they go in July. Their pitching and hitting seems to be waking up a little bit. But all in all, the Pirates are out. We all agree on that. They're the lowest of the low. We'll see about the 4 teams. We'll see what moves
I
they
don't
make.
agree on that.
What is the Pirates?
So we all agree on that. Don't speak for me on that one.
Okay.
I think all these teams are viable candidates here. With the Pirates pitching that they have, if their offense starts to come around, McCutchen gets a little bit back into his old form. O'Neal Cruz is a legitimate monster with the highest velocity off the bat in Major League Baseball. I think the Pirates could put a run together. I think the Reds could put a run together. Heck, the Cardinals might even decide that they're going to schizophrenically be, Dr. Jekyll and not be Mr. Hyde and make a run at this thing. The Brewers have the most exciting young pitcher in baseball, who got roughed up by the Mets. But listen, I think we've got a legitimate 5-team possibility here with some fairy tale magic that could happen. This is really good baseball that can happen, and just really exciting stuff, because none of these teams are these massive big budget teams that become the really big bad guys of the league. Like, you look at all 5 of these teams, and it just would be good for baseball if any of them won. I don't think so. For myself, I don't think the Pirates are in this 12 games out of 500, 38 and 50. They've had some tough goes. They need to have a really, really good month here. But to your point, when you're looking at, I think the 4 teams, all 4 teams need to be buyers. They're all above 500. They all legitimately have a case. I like what I'm seeing from, like, the NL East. I think we have some teams that are clearly struggling. You have 2 teams that are good. The NL Central and NL West has some interesting decisions to make for all those teams. Going to the NL West, Dodgers. They're 3-0 in this division. They had the best record all 3 months. To your point about a child could manage this team, even in their struggles and their million injuries that they have, they finished the month 17-9 after 19-12 after 19-7. The only downside of this division is the best next team was the Diamondbacks at 13-11. The San Diego Padres and the Giants were 12-13, 12-14. And the Rockies were last at 10-15. The Rockies are out completely. The other 3 teams, it's going to be interesting. The Padres are not playing that good. The Giants have really taken a step back. The Dodgers have clearly been like, we are going to win this division. So you're talking about the fight of the wild card. So they're fighting the Phillies and or Mets. You're fighting the 3 other teams we just talked about in the NL Central. This is an interesting little division, this NL West, because there's some decisions to be made, Dad, with the Diamondbacks and
Padres, I think, have some decisions to make, and I think the Giants, they were buyers, so I expect the Giants to buy some more here.
Yeah, I agree. They are. If you can imagine the Pirates getting into the playoffs, those three teams are above the Pirates.
Yep.
And the Marlins, who I don't think either are going to even sniff the playoffs. But it's true. Theoretically, they could. It's just in that division, I don't know if it's looking at the Dodgers, which nobody in that division should even bother doing that. You recognize how weak your team is when you try to measure with the Dodgers. You got holes they don't have. And those holes make you think, well, we really need to get a lot better. No one should be comparing themselves to the Dodgers. That's just, you're going to lose that every time. So, the game is to try to get in the playoffs and beat them in a short series.
Satan could compare himself to the Dodgers.
I do that every day.
I'm not a fan of the Yankees and the Phillies, but the Dodgers are becoming just the team that just is so fun to hate.
Mm-hmm.
Like the All-Star voting, it's disgusting. I don't even know why we do this. I mean, you basically had, and listen, I'm not going to accuse an entire nation of collusion, but I think all of Japan just ran Dodgers all the way down on the All-Star voting. I don't know how you put Freddie the Teeth Freeman above Pete Alonso at first base as a starter. It's just stupid.
Yep.
It's absolutely stupid. And I don't know. The Dodgers, even with all the injuries to their pitchers, because God has seen it in his good graces to curse the powerful and take the mighty and make them downfallen, or however that scripture goes. Like, they still win because, the devil.
The Dodgers are very, 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 very loaded. They have lots and lots and lots and lots of injuries, and they still have a lot of things we desire out of a baseball team when you're looking at it.
They deferred so much salary, they bought the Lakers.
Yeah, that's true.
That is not an unfair representation of what the Dodgers are doing.
Like, what are we doing?
I think the interesting thing going on right now is the Padres and Giants started off very hot, and they've really simmered down. I will be interested to see how July goes, and then we're looking at August, September, the wild card matchup for the NL, and I believe the AL as well is going to be very interesting. The Diamondbacks are the last team above 500 on that list. Dad, you have said that you should be sellers, and they just continue to just start to win. They're beating the Giants right now, and 2-0 against them in the series to start this week. It's the Diamondbacks are just an anomaly. I think they're going to sell. But, man, they just tempt you into thinking they can do something and go to the playoffs.
Yeah. Most home runs in baseball in the last 30 days is the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Well, yeah, they get swept by the Marlins. Then the Giants come into town, and they beat them 2 times in a row. So,
college football rules, Marlins are the best team in baseball.
There is one... yeah, go ahead, Dad.
This is going to, in the end, hurt the Diamondbacks. They just had 9 straight games against Colorado, the White Sox, and the Marlins. That's time to put money in the bank, right? They were 4-5. That's not good. That's not good.
The Marlins were hot. The Rockies are not the team they used to be. And the White Sox were legitimately defeating teams.
They were.
But you can't play those teams and go 4-5.
I will just simply argue you can catch the Yankees at a downside and the Mets at a downside. So the good teams can have down weeks, and you can catch them on their down weeks, and you can catch the bad teams at their up weeks. You just got to even it all out. And at the end of the day, the Diamondbacks are above.
Imagine going into Pittsburgh and losing 3 games 30-4.
Listen,
the Cardinals one-upped you on that one.
Yeah.
The Cardinals can score a run.
I know.
It was amazing what the Pirates did. One team needs to be mentioned, and we forgot to mention them in the AL East. The Toronto Blue Jays. They have had the 19-12 last month. They were 14-10 this month, currently tied with the Yankees. There is a 3-team race in the AL East. It is the Blue Jays, which we did not expect, and it is the Rays. And I will tell you this, if the Yankees don't win that division, people are going to be very upset. And there is legitimately 2 teams that are crawling at those good old Yankees, and they started really hot. First 2 months were really great, and they're letting every team is back with them again.
Yeah, shame on us for not mentioning the Blue Jays. They are legitimate, and they're playing well.
I don't feel any shame.
Well, for all of Canada who covers only the Blue Jays, congratulations. We know you didn't win the cup, but perhaps the Blue Jays can bring you some joy in winning this division over the Yankees.
No, they're not. They're not. Listen, the Yankees are about to hit the lowest part of the season. They're gonna slump going into the All-Star break, and they're gonna come out and be just fine. They're gonna come out and be just fine. The Yankees pitching is a lot better than we expected at the beginning of the year. Max Fried is turning into the ace he's supposed to be, and Aaron Judge is probably a generational talent of a hitter.
Is he leading? Is he one of the leading vote getters for the AL?
How is he not?
He should. I mean,
like he.
I don't know. I don't know what Japan is doing to the AL. I know what they're doing to the NL.
I don't even know that they vote for the AL.
They just leave it all blank.
Yeah. There's no Dodgers in the AL.
They're looking. They pull up the wrong bracket. Where's the Dodgers?
It's just horrible. It's just. I mean, but I mean, listen. I'm not. Aaron Judge it's incredible what he's doing. And he is going to, if he has to take the team and put it on his back in order to make the playoffs, that's what they're going to do. They're going to win the division.
Well, I know all the Yankee fans are hoping you're correct. That's the batter 5 for the month of June. Obviously, we'll do this for the month of July, August, and September, and then we'll be getting into the playoffs. The nice thing about our weekly show, if you want to catch that on our channel here, is that we just let you know what flavors are happening. And I will say our predictions of teams are getting much better. We're starting to feel the vibes of where teams are trending. So if you happen to go or live in Vegas or use one of those handy-dandy apps, we may be helping you. We may help you see into the window of the future, if you will. So that's the batter 5 for the month. I'm cheering for the White Sox and for the Rockies to not be in it. I'm always cheering for some good teams to make it. A month is a tough time. 4 weeks is hard to stay out. You got to get more than 10 wins. That's what it looks like in my perspective. Dad and Todd, as always, thank you for joining for this episode of the Batter 5 Monthly. Like, subscribe, share. We really appreciate you guys. And thanks for joining us on this hot summer July episode. Bye now.
Bye.